Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rachel if you're new here, and I'm currently 24 weeks pregnant with our first baby. It's a boy and we did IVF to conceive this child, and I'm super excited to just sit down and chat with you guys. I feel like it's been so long since I did a chatty video. I asked you guys on my Instagram for some questions about IVF, TTC, pregnancy, and just kind of updates in general. And then I'm also gonna talk about baby names that we love, or mainly that I love. I can't say that AJ loves all of the names that I love, but baby names that I love that we won't be using, and just kind of chat pregnancy, IVF, things like that. So let's just jump right in because I don't want to waste any time. Should I do the names at the beginning or the end? I think I'm going to do the names at the end and start with the questions that you guys had for me. I'm going to do a whole second trimester recap. So things like symptoms and how I'm feeling and birth plan type stuff, that's going to be in a separate video coming in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Okay, I have my water. So a lot of questions on IVF transfer protocol, like what medications I was on and exactly the steps of that. And I do have a full video dedicated to stims, which is when we got the eggs, the egg retrieval, and a full video dedicated to embryo transfer and the protocol leading up to that. So I highly encourage you to check that out if you want the nitty gritty on the medications I was on, for how long I was on them, and all the symptoms and all of that. But I will say, just like a quick snippet for those who are interested here, it was an estrogen pill and patch protocol leading up. We did an endometrial scratch a month before. It was 6 days of progesterone and oil shots pre-transfer, and I did the PIO shots until 10 weeks after transfer. Those are the main bullet points there. And then a lot of questions on how I felt after I stopped the shots. So the good news is that for most people, including myself, a lot of my first trimester nausea and symptoms went away after I stopped the estrogen and the PIO shots at 10 weeks pregnant. So that was such a relief because my first trimester was very tough on me. I have a full first trimester vlog. Go ahead and watch that if you want details there, but it was hard, and the second trimester has been a lot easier. So that's that. We also did 1 egg retrieval and 1 transfer. The egg retrieval resulted in enough embryos, God willing, to complete our family, and we are so grateful for that. We did do genetic testing, and from those results, we do believe that we have enough to complete our family. And then from there we did 1 transfer, and luckily everything took, and I just feel really grateful and blessed that we only had to do it 1 time. And I honestly didn't think it would work. If you've been watching my vlogs, you know that we didn't think it would work. We were just super negative about it, and so we were honestly shocked when it worked because the embryo was retained in the catheter 4 times or 3 times, and you can see that in that video. Lots of questions on infertility healing. Now that I'm pregnant, how am I feeling about TTC? How am I feeling looking back at IVF? Towards the beginning, I had a different answer than I have now. Towards the beginning of my pregnancy, I was still very jaded. I still didn't really believe what was happening. The pregnancy hadn't really hit me yet. Honestly, it just kind of hit me as I hit 20 weeks pregnant. Sorry, my nose is like so itchy right here. I don't know why. But once I hit 20 weeks pregnant, it really hit me that, oh my gosh, this baby is coming. I could start to feel him move, and that was crazy. And then yesterday we put together our stroller. Putting things together for the baby is like really the main thing that has really triggered in AJ and I's mind that we're actually having this baby. That, and then feeling the baby kick. So I have an anterior placenta, so my placenta is in the front of my belly, so it's a little bit harder for me to feel baby's movements. That being said, I still feel them, and it's still crazy. I think I felt the first movement at like 18 weeks, but it felt like he was rolling inside me, like rolling from side to side as opposed to like a punch or a kick. But now I can feel more like actual like movements with limbs, I feel like. So that's really cool. But anyways, back to the question. Towards the beginning, I was still super jaded. I didn't really believe that I was pregnant, or I don't know, just in the back of my head, I just always was waiting for the other shoe to drop and to have bad news. So I wasn't really in the blissful joy of being pregnant and being able to look back and say, oh, it was also worth it. Like IVF was not that bad. But now I feel like I'm entering that joyful stage of like, I cannot wait to meet my baby. Like it makes me emotional, and I was not like that before. And so now looking back at some of the videos I made, I was looking back at an Instagram reel of like all the shots we had to do, and that just made me so emotional because it was such a hard time in my life, and I didn't know what the results would be. I didn't know if I would ever be able to be here now. But being here now, I can look back and I can say it is so worth it. Every tear, and I haven't even met my baby yet, but like every shot, every doctor's appointment, everything is so worth it. And my word of encouragement to anyone going through infertility right now is just to keep going, because once you cross that finish line, and once you know, have your family, like, you will look back and you'll be like, it's so worth it. And I feel that way now, even just being pregnant. Something else that I like to encourage people is that IVF and TTC is just a time period in your life. So you're not going to be feeling this way forever. And this applies to everything that you're waiting for in life. Let's say you're waiting to find your husband, or you're waiting to find your dream job, or whatever. This is just a sliver in your life. And when you do achieve that goal, you'll look back and you'll say, dang, I wish I would have enjoyed that time a little bit more. I wish I would have not stressed so much or worried so much. And it's easy to say looking back, but that really helped me as I was going through it, just to remember I'm not gonna cry every month when I get my period for the rest of my life. Like, eventually I'm gonna have a kid one way or the other, God willing, and I will get through this. And that, I don't know, that just really helped me. And looking back now, it was so worth it. Also, if you are TTC, you've probably heard about Burden B. They have the early response pregnancy tests that I took for my frozen embryo transfer, and they were the first test that came out positive at 3 days past transfer. And they are the only pregnancy test I will take moving forward for any future cycles that I do, because number one, they're super affordable and they're super sensitive. And I'm so grateful that they're sponsoring this portion of today's video, because I truly believe in Burden B, everything they stand for. They're such a wholesome company. I love them. They also have gentle prenatal gummies, which are so yummy. This is the sour peach mango flavor, and these are so amazing. So the serving is 4 gummies. Each pack has 120 gummies. It's got all the nutrients that you need, including folate, which, if you're familiar with the difference between folic acid and folate, it's also got choline, which is super important for developing baby's brain. And it's got DHA already in here, so you don't have to buy a second supplement and take DHA separately. And the coolest thing to me is that it has extra B6, and B6 is something that helps anti-nausea in pregnancy. So when I was in my first trimester, my doctor told me to take extra B6 to help with the nausea. So the fact that the Burden B gummies already have it in here is just such an amazing thing. It just makes it so easy, and they taste like a snack. They're so freaking good, you guys. I wish I could eat this whole bag. And I know swallowing pills in the first trimester is just the worst. It's absolute worst. But yeah, such a cool brand. If you want to check out Burden B, they have some goodies on their website, including the early response tests, which are super affordable, super accurate. Highly recommend. Trust them with my life, honestly. If you have ever squinted at a pregnancy test, you know you need these, and they come in affordable packs. A great way to support someone going through IVF or any fertility treatment or TTC is to get them some Burden B tests, because I'm guaranteeing you they've heard about Burden B and they've been dying to try their tests. And then also the prenatal gummies, make sure you check them out. Both of these products will be linked down below. You won't regret it. So thank you so much, Burden B, for working with me today. Was IVF as hard as I pictured was also another question. I had a pretty good experience. I didn't have a failed transfer. I never experienced a pregnancy loss. So I would say, even with that being said, it kind of did match my expectations of like, okay, this is gonna be really hard. Sleepless nights, insomnia was honestly one of the worst things that came out of this whole process. Like that, if you watch that video, like those couple of days where I wasn't sleeping were like the worst. But yeah, I would say it matched my expectations of difficulty. It could have been much harder. I know it's so much harder for people who have failed transfers or you have to do multiple egg retrievals. Like I didn't have to experience that, but long story short, yeah, it was pretty difficult. But like I said, it's just a small period in your life, hopefully. And once you're in the other side, like you won't even think about those hard times. Like even being in my second trimester, I don't think about my first trimester. I don't even remember what it's like to feel like nauseous like that. And that's crazy because that was just a few weeks ago, but it's just crazy how we adapt so quickly to our situation. And I think that's the way God designed us, is to be adaptable. And that gives me a lot of hope, and I hope it gives you hope as well. Are you gonna do IVF again for future children? So yes, we do have, like I said, embryos ready to go for the next child that we want to have. I don't want to say anything for sure, but I predict that we won't be trying naturally the second time around, just because I do want to use the embryos that we have. That's something that's important to us, and I don't see why we wouldn't. It is a little bit more expensive to do that, as opposed to, like, let's say we were to get pregnant naturally, that would be free. But it's not about the money for me. It's more about, we decided to do IVF. We prayed about it. We felt like it was the right decision for our family. So we're going to see that through with the embryos that we have created. So I don't know what birth control method I'm going to be on afterwards. That'll be something to talk about at that time. Best way to support someone who is starting IVF. What I really liked from my friends and family was when I told them something like scientific, or I told them how the egg retrieval process worked, and they remembered that information. So just remembering information so that your friend who's going through it doesn't have to keep repeating herself. For example, if you're like, what's an egg retrieval again? Like, what are eggs? Like if that person has already, and I don't know if this sounds like annoying and like bratty, but like if that person has already taken the time to explain to you what they're going through and how it works, just doing your best to remember. And if not, maybe like Googling it later so that when you come back to that next meeting with your friend, you don't have to waste time talking about how it works. When my friends and family did that with me, I felt so loved because I was like, they actually remembered what I said. They cared enough to like Google it. Not everyone understands how IVF works, and I totally understand that. And I'm so willing to explain it to anyone who wants to listen. But if I have to explain it to you 2 or 3 times and you're my friend, then I'm like, okay, just Google it. In terms of physical support, I would say probably for me, and I predict I'm gonna be the same way postpartum, but like, hey, here's an Uber Eats gift card, or hey, I ordered some Chipotle to be delivered to your house, just like food for me, because you guys know I hate cooking. So I think that would be a good way, because you really can't do much else besides supporting them emotionally. Just being like, hey, I'm here for you, whatever you need. And then being like, hey, you have some donuts on the way to you, by the way. What was the biggest side effect that you had from IVF? So I assume this means like something that was very impactful, something maybe long-term. I know a lot of women, and I myself gained weight during the IVF egg retrieval stims process, and it wasn't anything I did or didn't do to my knowledge. I think it's just all of the hormones that you're pumping through your body. So I know that can be a big side effect for a lot of people. People can gain much more weight. It can be harder to lose the weight. So that's something. I don't think I have anything long lasting. I will say I've been getting different kinds of pimples since my egg retrieval. I get like these cystic pimples that sit under the skin. They never pop anymore. They used to always come to the surface in a few days and pop naturally, but now they sit under the skin for weeks. Like if I don't get them injected with Kenalog steroid at my mom's office, they will sit under my skin for, if I let them, probably months, and cause like huge scars. That's like the one thing that I'm like, I wonder if that's a coincidence or if it's from IVF. Okay, pregnancy anxiety. This is a big one that a lot of people going through infertility struggle with once they are pregnant, and I don't know what it is. I think it was obviously God blessing me with this, but once I heard the heartbeat at my 6-week appointment, I did not have almost any anxiety at all, besides what would be considered normal. So I didn't have any extra or excess anxiety because I did IVF, and I don't know how, because I am such an anxious type A control freak. So I think it was totally God who like lifted that burden off of me. But I was so chill, and I kind of had this mindset, like I said, of like, well, if it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work. If I miscarry, I miscarry. Like there's literally nothing I can do. And I kind of knew that logically. So I kind of took the logical route in my early pregnancy. So I really didn't struggle too much. I did have, like I said, regular anxiety about my 20-week scan, just like making sure everything is good. Yeah, I would say prayer is super important. My relationship with God has been up and down over the last couple of years, and I thought that getting pregnant would fix it right away. But as you guys know, just because we get something that we've wanted for so long, that doesn't mean all of our problems go away. That doesn't mean we're perfect now and everything is fixed and we're joyful all the time. Unfortunately, human nature doesn't work like that. So that's still something I'm working through. I feel like I'm at a better place now, that I'm in more of a positive season in my life as opposed to more of a struggle season. The struggle season would be like literally going through IVF and not knowing and struggling. Now that I'm in a more joyful season, it's easier for me to look back and say, well, now I trust you, God, because I see what you did. I see how you brought me through it. But to that person who's in the struggle, like that's not helpful. And I totally see how that's not helpful. And I'm not like fully there yet. Like I'm still battling doubts about God's will and why did he let this happen and why is suffering a thing and all those things. I guess I just want to say that I'm not like completely perfect now that I'm pregnant. Like I'm not completely healed and my relationship with God is on fire. Like I still struggle to open my Bible every day and I still struggle to pray. And I would say I'm making progress. I'm going in the right direction, but I think this whole thing is a journey and I'm going to be on it for life. And I don't know what God has in plan for me, but I do feel so blessed and I never want to take one day of this pregnancy for granted. You mentioned negative things pregnancy has done to your body. Are there any positives? This is so interesting. Yeah. Okay. I hope they stick around. That's what I'm going to say about that. Will you continue to work after the baby / YouTube plans once the baby comes? Are you going to show the baby's face? I've answered this in the past. As far as YouTube, I don't plan on stopping. Probably going to take a break, obviously, and like figure out my new routine and get a swing of things. But I plan on vlogging my life as it goes on, and my baby will be part of my life. Vinny is like right next to me. I'm not against showing the baby's face at this point. That could change, obviously. I don't know how I'm gonna feel when the baby comes. The focus will still be on me. It's still gonna be my life as a mom, as a worker, as a whatever it is that I do in my life. And then the people in my house will be shown occasionally, but it's not gonna be like a family channel or a baby channel or anything like that. As far as working, I do work 3 days a week right now at a dermatology office that is owned by my family. I don't know what that's gonna look like afterwards. I do predict that I'll be in at least once a week because I do a lot of the finances and accounting things, so I kind of have to stay on top of that on a weekly basis. So I'm not sure what that's gonna look like. I'm kind of just leaving it open-ended and kind of not putting pressure on myself, but still leaving that option open as to like, well, what if I don't want to stay home 7 days a week with my baby? What if I do want to work part-time? Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of leaving that open and gonna see what happens. My diagnosis from the fertility doctor was endometriosis. They were able to diagnose it via regular ultrasound because I do have a 4-centimeter endometrioma cyst on my left ovary. It was blocking my left tube. And I have all of the other symptoms of endometriosis as well. So they went ahead and diagnosed me with that. But typically you would need a laparoscopy surgery to confirm, unless you have endometriomas that are visible on ultrasound, which was my case. Another question about, have I thought about my endometriosis since I've been pregnant? And the answer is yes. That's something I think about a lot. My periods are super painful, like debilitating. With endometriosis, the only cure, there's no cure really, it's like a temporary solution, is to do laparoscopic surgery to remove the lesions. So there may be cysts, there may be lesions and scar tissue. So the surgery kind of like scrapes it all off, and it gives you relief. And the hope is that it will take many years for those to grow back. They will grow back. It's just a matter of how fast. Everyone is different. I probably, if I can manage not getting the surgery, I'm gonna have my kids like do the next transfers to have the kids that I want to have, and then do the surgery after, if that's something my doctors agree with. My doctor did not want to remove the cyst before I have my baby. He just said it's an unnecessary risk. It could cause more scar tissue than is necessary. He believed that I could have a successful transfer and a successful pregnancy, leaving the cyst there, and so far that has been the case, and I'm super grateful for that. So that's kind of going to be my loose plan going forward, is just to leave it, have my kids, and then deal with it later. Birth plan, so I don't have one yet, but I am interested right now in hypnobirthing, so I'm kind of looking into that in terms of how to prepare your mind for labor, whether I get an epidural or not. I'm not one way or the other yet, but that's something that I'm interested in, and I figured I would share. If you guys have any hypnobirthing recommendations, classes, I do want to take a class because I feel like I could be very anxious and I want to work on the mental. Going back to the infertility trauma, am I healed from it now? I do want to say something that I've noticed is when people have pregnancy announcements now, I don't feel any type of way. Like, I used to be so devastated naturally. I would cry. I would be like, why? I would be jealous. I would just be so upset most of the time if it was someone close in my life. And now it's like, oh, they're pregnant, cool, that's amazing. Like, I don't even have like a retroactive jealousy, which I thought I would have, because I'm like I can be pretty petty sometimes. I think we all can be, but I don't have any like, oh wow, it was so easy for you, like must be nice. Like, I don't even think that, and I think that's God too, of like, working on my heart. That is something that I've noticed, and that's huge. That is huge, because if you're struggling to get pregnant right now, you know how hard it is to hear a pregnancy announcement and to think that one day you won't even care when someone else gets pregnant. Like, you may think that's not possible for you, but it is. I hope that's encouraging. Prepping for IVF, any tips? Someone maybe just starting out on this journey, I would just say lose all your expectations, drop all your timelines. Don't even plan anything, just let it happen. Try to distract yourself. For me, that was going to the gym. I got really into the gym and it's still something that I love to do. So find something else that you can do every day, so that you're not just Googling and sitting and planning, and just try to lower and drop all your expectations to zero. I think that's how we were able to have such a anxiety-free transfer and first trimester, because we had zero expectations. And I don't know why, because it's not like our IVF journey was that difficult, as I was mentioning, in terms of like, oh, we had to do 3 egg retrievals and 3 transfers. I don't know, we just kind of were both, I guess, pessimistic people. So we were like, let's just not expect anything. And then anything good that happens, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. So that's my biggest tip if you're going through this. And then I would just say, go for it. Go for it. Take wisdom from people that you trust in life. Maybe it's your parents, your godparents, your pastor, your closest friends. Take their input and their advice, but at the end of the day, it's you and your partner sitting together and saying, does this feel right to us? Do we feel called to do this? And just go for it. Don't worry about what other people are going to think. Oh, it's too soon for you to get tested. No, it's not. Like, go at 6 months. Why do you have to wait a year? Start the process. Just do it. If you get pregnant along the way, that's amazing, but you're never gonna, like, I would never look back and say, I wish I waited longer. Like, that is not something that you're gonna say, I don't think. Body image, and again, a lot of symptom questions. I'm gonna talk about that in my second trimester video, because I feel like this is getting long already. Another tip that I have, just quickly, I think this is important, is to not let infertility overtake your life. Don't let it become your whole personality. I tried not to do that. For example, my job here on YouTube is very much about what I'm doing in my life. So if I'm all about infertility and all my videos are about that, I can quickly lose myself and lose what's important in my life. So just try to be well-rounded and try to let infertility or TTC just be one section of you, just 5% of who you are at this time. It doesn't have to overtake your life. Still do your hobbies, still go out, still have fun, still pursue your education, still book those trips. Like, don't plan around your infertility as much as possible, or your TTC. Like, don't do that, because that will make you resent it so much more. There's so many trips we wanted to go on that we didn't, because I was like, well, what if I'm pregnant by then? Or what if we're doing IVF by then? Like, just book the dang trip. You can work around it. Trust me, you can work around it. Even if you're doing IUIs, which, by the way, we did 2 IUIs. They failed before we did IVF. We waited 1 year, because I know this is a question. Waited 1 year before getting tested. Actually, I think it was 10 months. 10 months. By the time we did our IUIs, we were 1.5 years in total time. And then IVF, embryo transfer, 2 years. So 2 years, 1 year of just trying naturally, basically. And then that whole second year was testing, IUIs, IVF, transfer. So 2 years total was our journey. Back to the other thing. Yeah, just don't let it overtake your life. Looking back, we could have planned our IUIs around trips. We could have planned IVF around trips. Like, they are pretty flexible with you. So just don't let it take over your life. Okay, let's jump into baby names I love but won't be using. Should I do girl and boy names or just boy names, because I'm having a boy? Okay, this is a list that I've had forever. So some of these, I don't know, don't judge me. Okay, let's just start with boy names. I really like the name Emmett. I put this down in high school when I started watching Twilight, because I just loved Emmett. I don't know. And I like the name, and I still kind of like the name Emmett. AJ doesn't love it. I think you can assume that AJ doesn't love a lot of these names if they're on this list. Silas. I really always liked the name Silas. I think it's very elegant. It's very like studious, but I don't know, it's just not the right name for us. Landon. I liked this name like 5 years ago, but then it got too popular and I was like, nah. Okay, Aven. This is actually a name that we both like, but it just didn't feel right. Aven, A-V-E-N. I think we saw this, I think it was Love is Blind. There was a character named Aven and we both looked at each other and we were like, that's a cool name. And also AJ's name starts with an A. AJ likes to keep his name private. He doesn't want me telling you what AJ stands for. Okay, Percy. I think this is AJ's name, or like a name that AJ put on the list. Percy. He likes Percy Jackson. I don't personally like the name Percy. Kai. I could see this as a middle name. I really like this. Do I? I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how I feel about this, but I put it on here because it's like intriguing. It's also very common. So I don't know. Dawn. D-O-N. I love this name. Dawn Draper from Mad Men. Excuse me. It could be short for Donatello, but it's a little bit too Italian and it's a little too serious. I feel like we're leaning more towards like solid names that are also like playful and light as opposed to like serious mafia names. Okay, let me tell you the girl names because those are kind of all the boy names that I liked. I also have some names that I think we're gonna use for future kids if they're a boy, so I'm not gonna tell you those. Girl names. I feel like I have more girl names than boy names. Nadia. This is a Russian name. Totally unfitting for us. None of us are Russian, but I just really like this name. Oh, another boy name I had was Moses. I like the girl name Faye. I might use this as a middle name or maybe a first name. I don't know. I really like Faye. Eden. Feel like this one's gotten a little bit too popular though. Oh, I love this name, but AJ hates it. I don't know if I should say it because I really want to name my daughter this. I'm not going to say it. Ada, basic. Marlo, Margot, either or. I really like Margot. I shouldn't have said that. Don't steal it. Frankie. AJ would never let me name our daughter Frankie, but I think it's so cute. Okay, I like the name Emmeline, and you can call her Emmy. That is so cute to me. I love names that have the E sound. I've realized a lot of these names and names that I love either like start with an E or have an E at the end. A lot of the names I haven't mentioned because they're names that I want to keep a secret, but like Emery is another one. I love nicknames like Ellie, Frankie, that's why I like Frankie. Faye, like even the word Faye has like an E, and I love that. I don't know why I'm drawn to that. I like the name Sloan for a girl, but again, it's getting too popular. By the way, if your baby is named any of these names, like take no offense because I love these names. That's why they're on my list. These are cool names. Like if your baby is named one of these, I'm jealous. Roe, this is a cool name. I should not have told you that name. Roe, R-O-W-E. Cool. For a girl? Ugh, I shouldn't have told you that. It's okay, you guys are gonna forget. Bela. It's from Game of Thrones. I think it is, or House of Dragon. Bela, cute. Lena, cute. Reina, cute. Love. I also like the name Enzo for a boy. I like the name Mateo, Pablo. I like Hispanic names. I don't know why. Yeah, so those are kind of the names that I have on my list. Some of them I've had for years. Like I said, some of them are pretty new. So comment your name guesses what we're gonna name our boy. If you think you have an idea based on the names that I said, that would be a fun game. Let's play a little game. But yeah, what a fun little chatty video. If you have any second trimester questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments because I'm gonna be filming that probably in the next couple of weeks because I'm 24 weeks pregnant and I think this second trimester ends at 27 weeks or so. I'm also gonna answer some questions that I didn't hit on here on Instagram, so make sure you follow me over there. Give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out the Bird and Bee gummy prenatals and the early response pregnancy tests. And I love getting messages from you guys on Instagram. If you're going through an egg retrieval, you have a specific question, please DM me because I will answer. If it's like a specific question, like what did you do in this case, or like how many of this did it take, or whatever. I love talking to you guys about IVF in my DMs. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.